Hey, KidNuz fans! As you know, we're always trying to increase the news IQ of our listeners. Now there's a way to help them improve in all sorts of subjects. IXL is an online learning platform helping millions of K through 12 kids up their academic game. 75 scientific studies back up the boost they'll get in math, science, reading, and social studies. Kids get instant feedback and explanations. Parents get reports showing what's working and where more help might be needed. And right now, KidNuz listeners can try it out for 20% off when they sign up at IXL.com/KidNuz. Check out the monthly and annual memberships at IXL.com/KidNuz. Good morning and welcome to KidNuz. I'm Tori. It's Monday, August 19th, 2024. And we begin with all eyes on Chicago, Illinois, which is hosting a national political convention for the 27th time, more than any other city in the U.S. Its first was 164 years ago in 1860, when Republicans chose a young Illinois lawyer named Abraham Lincoln as their standard bearer. But this week, it's all about the Democrats. Big-name politicians and 4,000 delegates will rally behind Vice President Kamala Harris, who, by Thursday night, will be the Democrats' official nominee for the presidential election in November. President Biden gets the party started this evening, and in the coming days, the Obamas and Clintons will take center stage. But how did the Windy City become the town for political conventions? Historians say that its central location is key, but equally important, Chicago knows how to throw a party. The honors are piling up for a 15-year-old high schooler from Virginia. Heyman Bekella's just been named Time Magazine's Kid of the Year 2024 for creating a soap he hopes will one day cure skin cancer. If that sounds familiar, it's because we reported on Heyman last year when his Sudsy concoction earned him the title of America's Top Young Scientist. He says his inspiration came from workers in his native Ethiopia who spend hours in the sun without protection from harmful UV rays. So, with a dream to whip up an inexpensive treatment, a lot of research, and a curiosity to start mixing household ingredients together, his idea took shape. Now, with help from Johns Hopkins, he's on his way to an FDA patent. But as USA Today notes, his frequent drives to the university will have to pause while he starts high school and, ironically, sits down for his very first chemistry class. The moon is expected to put on quite a show over the next few months. Between now and the end of 2024, we're in for 4 consecutive supermoons, which happen when the moon orbits extra close to Earth, making it appear 14% bigger and 30% brighter than normal. The first one is visible now through Wednesday with peak illumination at 2:24 this afternoon, East Coast time. But it'll still look full for the next 2 days and 2 nights. According to NASA, the difference between a regular moon and a supermoon is as dramatic as the size difference between a nickel and a quarter. The next supermoon will be the harvest moon on September 17th, and that, skywatchers say, will spin even closer. Remember Stumpy, the gnarly old cherry tree cut down in Washington, D.C. to make room for much-needed repairs along the seawall near the Jefferson Memorial? Well, now there are a lot of little Stumpies, thanks to the hard work and diligence of some very talented arborists who took clippings and samples of the unlikely social media star, replanted them, then showered them with enough TLC to grow 5 self-sustaining Stumpy clones. Despite the early success, they're not yet ready for their close-ups. According to the Associated Press, these Stumpy saplings will require years of nurturing before any can make a public debut. In today's KidNuz Notes, it's not often you hear that a baseball player is allergic to his equipment, but that's little consolation to Yankee Alex Verdugo. This season, the center fielder's hands have been as painful as his batting average, and the reason, doctors think, is a reaction to his batting gloves, specifically the cobalt and chromate used to make them. NJ.com reports that glove maker Franklin is working on a fix. And the famous brown fedora worn by snake-fearing archaeologist Indiana Jones in the Temple of Doom now has a new owner. The hat sold at auction last week for $630,000, more than double original estimates. It had been worn by both Harrison Ford and his stunt double in the 1984 blockbuster. Still to come, how democracy went to the dogs in one Minnesota town. But first, today's Kid News quiz. Time Magazine's Kid of the Year invented what? 15-year-old Heyman Bekele created soap to treat skin cancer. How many supermoons are expected between now and the end of the year? 4, 1 each month. Arborists in Washington, D.C. successfully cloned what social media star? Stumpy, the cherry tree. How many times has Chicago, Illinois hosted a national convention? 27. In today's Kid News Kicker, while the U.S. presidential election is still 12 weeks away, another hotly contested race already has a winner. Over the weekend, the tiny town of Cormorant, Minnesota, swore in a 3-year-old Great Pyrenees dog as its mayor. Khaleesi weighs about 140 pounds and was named after one of the main characters of the hit show Game of Thrones. She's fairly new to town, but her owners mounted a sizable and obviously successful campaign to get her elected over Ollie, a retriever puppy, basset hound Theodore, and a human named Ken. She'll be the town's second mayor, following in the footsteps of Duke, another Great Pyrenees, and her main job will be to rep the town in parades and spread good cheer. Interestingly, Khaleesi's landslide online win totaled 103,000 votes, even though Cormorant has a population of only 1,407. Back by popular demand, it's shout-out time for our Kid News classroom, starting with Mrs. Wallace and her Blanche Bears at Blanche Sprent's in Folsom, California. Mrs. Sunada and her middle school social studies class at Holy Family Catholic Academy in Honolulu, Hawaii. And Mrs. Koski and her Lewis Ducks at Dorothy Lewis in Solon, Ohio. Teachers, if you'd also like a shout-out, you have to sign up. Forms are inside the Teacher's Lounge of our website at kidnews.org. Thanks for listening. We'll see you back here for more Kid News tomorrow morning.